For the first time ever, the world witnessed a love and admiration so powerful, it was felt by thousands. And it wasn't for just any musician. It was for Bob Weir, the legendary co-founder of the Grateful Dead, whose memorial service in San Francisco brought together a star-studded lineup that no one expected. Today, we're taking you inside a farewell like no other. A celebration of a life that shaped generations, a music scene, and a city itself. And while thousands of fans gathered to pay tribute, there was a roster of celebrities and musicians whose presence turned this farewell into a historic moment. You're about to hear the names, the stories, and the heartfelt moments that unfolded details that haven't been widely shared until now. Bob Weir, who passed away at the age of 78 after battling cancer and lung complications, spent his life as a musician, a performer, and a unifying force in the world of music. His journey with the Grateful Dead began in the mid-1960s in San Francisco, a city that became both his home and the heartbeat of his musical legacy. Together with Jerry Garcia, Phil Lesh, Ron Pigpen McKernan, and Bill Kreutzmann, Weir helped create a band that was more than music. It was a culture, a community, and a way of life. Even in his final months, Weir continued performing, giving fans one last gift of music during Dead & Company's 3-day concert series at Golden Gate Park. Those shows were not just concerts, they were a homecoming, a celebration of decades of music that intertwined with the lives of fans from all over the world. And it was this connection, this bond with the audience that was felt deeply during his memorial service. The public memorial took place at San Francisco's Civic Center Plaza, preceded by a solemn procession up Market Street from 7th to 9th Streets. By noon, thousands of Deadheads had gathered in the grassy quad facing Bill Graham Auditorium, ready to honor a man whose influence spanned generations. Women in flowing white dresses and tie-dye tops handed out long-stemmed red roses, adding a symbolic and deeply personal touch to the ceremony. The atmosphere was a mix of mourning, celebration, and communal love, a reflection of the life Weir had led and the impact he had made. Among those paying tribute were some of the most recognizable names in music and politics. John Mayer, who shared the same birth date as Weir but 30 years apart, performed a stunning rendition of Ripple, closing out the service with a moment that left many in tears. Mayer's words before the performance highlighted the bond between musicians, fans, and the spirit of camaraderie that defined Weir's life. "We stood side by side together in the music," Mayer said. "That's where those 30 years would melt away and we'd become comrades, sometimes brothers, even if only by one shared parent." The presence of Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi added another layer of significance to the memorial. She spoke about Bob Weir as a force of nature, restless, searching, curious, and kind. She described how Weir helped create not just music, but a culture and a community. He showed us that music, like democracy, is not fixed. It is something we make together night after night, note after note, voice after voice. Her words captured the essence of Weir's influence, reminding everyone present that his legacy was more than chords and melodies. It was connection, collaboration, and inspiration. San Francisco Mayor Daniel Lurie also addressed the crowd, reflecting on Weir's lifelong impact on the city. He described the Dead & Company concerts at Golden Gate Park as a homecoming for a band that helped shape the city and its soul. He emphasized that Weir, like the city itself, was part of a living, breathing culture that evolved over decades, drawing together countless people who found joy, purpose, and community in his music. The memorial wasn't limited to politicians and current performers. Folk legend Joan Baez, who had known Weir for decades, joined the ceremony, adding her voice and presence to the homage. Legendary musicians Willie Nelson, Sammy Hagar, Winona Judd, Warren Haynes, Trey Anastasio from Phish, and Bruce Hornsby all contributed to a video tribute illustrating the depth of admiration Weir inspired across the music world. This wasn't just a farewell, it was a gathering of those whose lives were touched by his art and character. Mickey Hart, drummer for the Dead since 1967, reminded attendees that the band was more than a musical group. At the heart of it all, this was never just a band. It was a family, he said. It's up to us to keep the refrain going. Love is real, not fade away. Hart's words echoed the enduring sentiment of the Deadhead community, a community that had followed the band from venue to venue through decades of change, yet remained unwavering in their devotion. The family also made a deeply personal gesture, donating 10,000 long-stemmed roses, which were handed out by members of the Wharf Rats, a community of sober deadheads that originated in Akron, Ohio, in 1986. Volunteers traveled from all over the country, including Bangkok, Florida, and Seattle, to ensure that each attendee could participate in this symbolic act of tribute. As one Wharf Rat volunteer explained, "With Bobby, you always knew his next project, his next show. When he wasn't playing music, we all grew concerned." Their dedication highlighted the unique relationship Weir had with his fans, a bond built on music, trust, and shared experiences. Fans from around the world came to pay their respects, from London to Tokyo, and as far away as Bangkok. They had traveled thousands of miles to celebrate a life that had been a soundtrack to their own. Among them were lifelong Deadheads, who had followed Weir and the Grateful Dead for decades, attending countless shows, road trips, and festivals. Their presence underscored the fact that Bob Weir was more than a musician. He was a cultural icon whose influence shaped the lives of millions. As the procession moved through the streets of San Francisco, the atmosphere was electric, with emotion. There was sorrow, yes, but also gratitude and reverence. The sense of community, of shared history, and of collective love for a man who dedicated his life to music and connection was palpable. It was a rare moment in which the personal, musical, and cultural legacies converged into one unforgettable farewell. Bill Kreutzmann, the only surviving original member of the Grateful Dead, alongside Weir, addressed the crowd in a heartfelt video message. He said, "Time has proven that nobody will ever be able to replace Jerry Garcia or Phil Lesh, and time will prove the same for Bob Weir." I think he had finally said all he had to say, and now he's on to the next thing. I just hope he was able to bring his guitar with him, or otherwise, he'll go crazy. Sleep in the stars, my brother, and get there safely. These words captured the unique personality of Weir, playful, devoted, and eternally connected to the music he loved. What made the memorial particularly special was the seamless blend of public celebration and private reflection. While thousands of fans filled the Civic Center Plaza, the ceremony also honored Weir's family and closest friends. His daughter, Shala Weir, spoke of him as a natural activist, an avid advocate for the environment, animals, and human rights, highlighting a side of Bob that many may not have known, a man whose values extended far beyond music. The memorial also reminded everyone why San Francisco and the Grateful Dead are inseparable. The city had been a laboratory for musical innovation, cultural experimentation, and social consciousness, and Bob Weir was at the center of it all. Every note, every song, every performance reflected the spirit of San Francisco, a city that nurtured creativity and welcomed dreamers. The ceremony concluded with a communal sing-along to Ripple, performed by John Mayer. It was a poignant, emotional, and unforgettable moment that perfectly encapsulated the spirit of Weir's legacy, a life devoted to music, community, and connection. Fans sang together, some crying, some smiling, all united in the celebration of a man who had touched them in ways words could not capture. This star-studded farewell was more than just a memorial. It was a homecoming, a celebration of life, and a reminder of what it means to live fully, passionately, and in service to art and community. From the roses handed out by dedicated fans to the heartfelt speeches by politicians, musicians, and friends, every detail reflected the profound respect and love for Bob Weir.